Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're back here talking about the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to start it off with this crazy statistic. It's a list of every quarterback since 1950 to throw for multiple touchdowns with a 100 plus passer rating in each of his first 3 career starts. Dan Marino and Mr. Brock Purdy. Brock has been absolutely on fire. He has, since week 13, the #1 pass rating at 110. He has led this team to multiple straight victories to continue their 8-game winning streak. This team has not lost. They haven't lost in 2 months. This is the best team in the NFC. We're going to talk about all of it in today's video. So welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys had a very, very Merry Christmas. If you enjoy it, hit the like button, hit that sub button for more Niners content, daily NFL videos. Niners fans, you guys blessed my last video. Absolutely blessed it. It was a phenomenal Christmas gift. Thank you guys so much. Let's try and get this video to 250 likes, and I will keep on making Niners content regardless, so stay tuned. Now, it hasn't been just Brock Purdy. We're going to talk about a secret. It's just kind of a secret little anecdote a little later on in the video, but here are their defensive ranks. Because I feel like I didn't really emphasize how good this defense was in my last Niners video. Points per game, #1. Yards per game, #1. Rushing yards per game, #1. First downs per game, #1. DVOA, #1. EPA per play, #1. Success rate, #1. Is that good? Is that good? I think that's pretty damn good. This defense is ranked #1 for a good reason. Nick Bosa, Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think it's much of an I don't think it's much of a conversation. I think that's just a clear fact. Nick Bosa, Defensive Player of the Year. Now, the 49ers have done a phenomenal job at winning games this year. We talk a lot about this defense and how regardless of your quarterback play, your defense is going to keep you in every single football game. It doesn't matter if you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, it doesn't matter if you're playing the Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Philadelphia Eagles. That defense is going to keep you in the football game. Now, the 49ers have held a lead on a league-high 55.7 of their offensive snaps this season. Considering all of the injuries that they have sustained at the quarterback position, that is absolutely an unreal statistic. Now, their offensive line should also get a lot of credit, a lot of props, but I want to bring up something that really showed me this Niners team, if you had any questions about if the 8 straight wins wasn't enough, if the trade for Christian McCaffrey wasn't enough, if Brock Purdy's stellar starts weren't enough, I want to add this anecdote. All right, San Francisco's rush attack this past week was not that awesome. All right, Washington has a very underrated defense. They have a very underrated team in general. It's one of the best defenses in the National Football League, and it's also one of the best rush defenses in the league. So outside of Ray's 71-yard rush to the house, Christian McCaffrey, he scored his touchdown with about 2 minutes to go in the game, finished with 15 carries, 46 yards. You had Davis Price, 9 carries, 30 yards. Brock Purdy also had 1 attempt for 6 yards. So we're talking about 3.2 yards per carry with their 2 running backs. So what does that mean? Well, San Francisco still finished with 37 points on the day. So what I really realized, or what I think became evidently clear when you're going up, especially against a top defense, is that they won that game through the pass attack. Like, they did not have much ground help in the game. Like I said, McCaffrey only had 3.1 yards per carry on the day. So Brock Purdy, the 7th rounder, he had to make plays, right? Keep in mind, Kyle Shanahan said this. He's not 100%. This guy isn't even 100%. His poise is insane. You can tell how smart of a quarterback he is, but he did more than enough to win that football game. We talked about that interception in our last video. That wasn't even his fault. 15 of 22, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns for a rating of 114.6. When you have studs like George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, that makes your job a lot easier. But it just goes to show you how many threats this offense truly has. Because now, Brock Purdy has become a threat in himself. We've also seen him get some rushing yards. We've seen him extend plays. We've seen him extend drives. We've seen him rush for touchdowns. So George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey. Don't forget about Deebo Samuel. Don't forget about Elijah Mitchell, who will be making a comeback relatively soon. But you also have to factor in Brock Purdy. So that game to me was the clear-cut indicator that San Francisco is the team to beat. Because like I said, that rush game was just not working. It was not working. Brock Purdy had to make the throws. He had to make the plays. I mean, I know that sounds redundant with your starting quarterback, but I get the feeling that Niners fans feel a lot more comfortable right now with Brock Purdy, your 7th round pick, who's only had a couple of career starts, than Jimmy G, who was having the season of his career. He was having a great season. So the future with San Francisco is extremely bright. They're going to have some decisions to make. Don't forget about Trey Lance. We unfortunately just haven't really seen enough of Trey to get a good gauge on him. But this is a great problem to have. You have a more than capable third-string quarterback who could lead your team to the Super Bowl. And I want to emphasize that Philadelphia loss because, I was getting some comments saying San Francisco, they could get the 1 seed. I guess theoretically they could get the 1 seed. But to me, it's all about momentum. It really is all about momentum. When I look at Philadelphia, Dallas is a good team. When they come ready to play, Dallas is a good team. So it's not a terrible loss with your backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew. But I will say this. Philadelphia started their season obviously undefeated. They didn't lose till well into the year, to Washington actually, but their momentum seems to be going downhill. It's not a drastic downhill. What did we see last year? The Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers, those were the number 1 seeds, and what did they both do in the divisional round of the playoffs? They had lost. They lost their first game. Those were the 1 seeds. So it's momentum. This team has won 8 straight football games. This team started 3-4 on the year. Obviously, there were some factors that went into it. They were not the healthiest team in the league, but they were going through some, not issues is the wrong word, but there were some hiccups. There were some bumps along the road. This team, 8 straight victories, is the hottest team in the National Football League, and I get it. Philadelphia, when they're healthy, is awesome. They lost a huge offensive lineman this past week against Dallas. They lost their quarterback. I would so much rather be in the position of San Francisco, even if they end up getting the 2 seed and not the 1 seed, than the banged up Philadelphia Eagles. I said this in my last video. Philly's losing round 1. It doesn't matter who they're playing. The Philadelphia Eagles are losing in their first round of the playoffs, which will probably be, I guess, the second week because of the bye. But you don't want to play San Francisco, especially with the way Brock Purdy is playing right now, especially with all the threats they have on offense. And defensively, so many of these players, like Charvarius Ward, there are so many defensive threats on this team that I have to make a whole separate video just to talk about their defense. It's awesome. That's how completely loaded they are. Fred Warner has done a phenomenal job leading this defense. Jamie Ward, Nick Bosa. It never ends. This defense never ends. So offensively, I am loving San Francisco right now because Brock Purdy showed me, he's been showing me a lot so far, but he showed me he can win these games when it matters. So hit that like button, hit that sub button, drop some 49ers love down below. Peace.